Welcome to day 5, part 5 of this week's series of devotions, and the theme this week has been homecoming. I hope you've been with me since Monday. It's been a lovely journey, and now we're landing the plane. Now we're turning the corner and we can see home in the distance. And today we're looking at the third parable that Jesus tells in chapter Luke, in his series, in the book of Luke, in his series on the lost, right? On Wednesday, we looked at the parable of the lost coin. Yesterday, we looked at the parable of the lost sheep. And today is the parable of the lost son. Now, if you're anything like me, if you've grown up around church at all, you've probably heard this story preached on many times, spoken about many times. Nevertheless, I think it's a really powerful story and a great way to bring this series to an end. Now the story goes, and you're probably familiar with it, but if you're not, let me give you the quick synopsis. Let me give you the rundown. The story goes that there were two sons who lived with their dad, and they used to work hard in the family business. And then on one occasion, for some reason, the younger son decides of his own volition that, you know what? Bun this. I've had enough of this. I've worked hard enough for long enough. Here what? Dad, give me my little change now. Give me my inheritance now. Give me what I would usually get on your deathbed. Give it to me now, because I've got plans that I want to do. I got things that I want to do. I got moves that I want to make. So I tell you what, cut all the talking. Give me that now. And the parable goes that the father obliges and gives the younger son his inheritance. And the younger son goes off with that money and starts living it up. He lives the life of Wiley, right? He goes in. And, modern day version tellers of the story could look any way you could imagine. That could look like Las Vegas. That could look like Amsterdam. That could look like, beaches in the Caribbean. That could look like lots and lots of McDonald's, right? He was just living it up, spending the money willy-nilly, just enjoying himself, having an awesome time, attracting their friends in the meantime, because money's got lots of friends, right? And just living it up. But over time, due to this way of living, due to this scandalous and intemperate and unholy and irreverent and all of them big words you can think of there, due to just the crazy lifestyle, he eventually runs out of money. And as a result of that, the story goes to the point where he actually starts doing things that are deplorable and that he would never think of doing as a result of the situation he's now in. And the parable ends with him literally, you see, Jesus had a way with hyperbole, right? He literally finds himself in a pig pen eating the pig's food. Jesus not being scared of the dramatics really leaves no thought to the imagination. There he is in a pig pen eating the swill, the food, it's not even food, the mush of leftovers that is usually fed to pigs, because pigs eat anything. And he's in there just pigging out with the pigs, right? Eating that pig food, just eating it. And as he's eating it, a moment comes to him and he's like, hold on. My dad's a big guy, My dad is respected. My dad has money. My dad has a big yard. My dad has everything. And he starts to hatch a plan. He's like, if I just go back to my dad, if I'm just like, he starts working on his plan. If I just go back to my dad and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Or if I just go back to my dad, I just fall at his feet. Like, if I I'm so repentant, if I'm just so sorry, then he'll take me back, and at the worst, in a modern day song version of this says, just make me like a sales assistant. He hatches this plan. He'll go back and just make me a lowly one of the servants in the house. I don't even need a big title. I don't need to be restored to my usual place. I just need to get out of this pig pen. And so he hatches a plan that he's gonna go back. Everything's gonna be cushy, right? And as he goes back, the story goes, as he's making his way back to his father, right? He comes round the corner, just like we're rounding the corner on the last bend of our series this week, and rounding the corner of this Black Future Month. As he's rounding the corner, and the story says that his father sees him in the distance, right? He sees him in the distance, and he just takes up running, picks up his long tunic that would have been touching the floor, his long robe, his fancy clothes, maybe even kicked off his sandals, because he can run faster in barefoot, and just starts running towards his son as he sees him round in the corner, and the two are caught in an embrace, mid-air, in an embrace. The camera swells round, and the father just embraces his son. He's just so glad he's home. And at that point, the story goes that the son now kind of puts his preconceived kind of apology at the door, and he's just like, a true heartfelt outpouring occurs, and he's just like, forgive me, you know what I mean? Forgive me. And the father, and this is huge, especially in the time in which the story was being told, the father is so receptive to the son, to the point where forget about becoming the servant, forget about just, working your way back up to where you were. The father instantly puts his robe around him, gives him his ring, reinstates him to his previous position, and not only that, orders that we throw a big party, a huge celebration, because his son who was lost is back with the family, and they just must celebrate. And there's other parts of the story. There's the older son who never left, who's a bit begrudgeful of the fact that this party is being had for his younger son. And the father has to deal with that issue and be like, yo, you're always with me. Why are you begrudging your younger brother? Everything I have is yours. But he was lost. He was gone. He was out there, and he's come back. So we have to celebrate. And I love the image that Jesus is presenting in this story of what it really can look like and feel like and be like when we decide of our own volition that we don't want anything to do with him. Right? This is really what the story is about. Like, he is representing himself as this father who allows, who permits, who gives us all the freedom to live the life we want to live, of any kind, to make our own decisions, to live a life separate of him, to move away from him, to not acknowledge him. Like, we have that freedom, and he's really serious about freedom. Jesus is obsessed with us all having the freedom of choice. He's obsessed with us using our freedom any way that we want, even if that way is contrary to his plan. He is so committed to our freedom of choice that even when those decisions will bring us away from him, he still wants us to make our choices. He's not interested in twisting our arm, in forcing us, in cajoling us into a relationship with him. He wants us to have a relationship with him of our own volition, of our own decision, of our own impetus. And all he needs is a glimpse. This is what's so beautiful. He just wants you, you heard the saying, I give you an inch, you take a yard, right? With God, sometimes it's the opposite way around. Like, we take an inch towards him and he takes a mile. We take a centimeter towards him, he takes a kilometer. We take just a millimeter towards him, and he takes whatever's bigger than a kilometer, right? This is the idea that God is just waiting for us to decide to be back in relationship with him. He's just waiting for us to make a slight inclination towards him, and he's willing to make up that difference. He's constantly willing to make up that difference. And It's really powerful because, again, I don't know your situation. You're watching this live or on pre-recorded. I don't know what your journey has been, but I know that there can be many things in our life that makes us feel that we're so far from God, right? It's so normal to the human condition to feel as though our relationship with him is based on our performance, our relationship with him is based on what we say and what we do. And because we feel that, it's easy to then assess our performance and decide that because of that, we're clearly separate from God. Because of what we've done, why would he want anything to do with us? Because of how we live, because of the things we say, like, why would he ever want to be in a relationship with us? But the truth is he does, right? And when we talk about coming home, that is what I've been trying to emphasize this week, that coming home is returning to a relationship with God. That's what he desires more than anything, for us to have a relationship with him, for us to communicate with him. We talked on Monday and Tuesday just about how God asks us questions to humanity throughout the biblical narrative, where he's asking us questions so that we will engage with him. He's asking us questions so that we can talk to him. He's asking us questions so he can be in a relationship with us. He's asking us questions to encourage and incite us to just reach out a little bit, because he is so willing to make up the difference. And ultimately, that is what he does. He covers the gap, right? He just wants us to make that move towards him. And so I want to encourage everyone that's watching this, and encourage everyone who is going to watch this, that no matter where you are, it seems cliche, but I think it's still sometimes important to say. True things are important to say. That no matter where you are, no matter what decisions you're making, no matter what decisions you have made, no matter what decisions you will make, God is just yearning for us to just turn to him just slightly, right? Just a little bit. Because a relationship with him is not dependent on our performance. It's not dependent on us being perfect. It's not dependent on any exterior thing you could imagine. All God wants us to do is just turn to him a little bit, and he will cover that gap. Come home is what he said. Come home. I want to see you. He wants to see us coming around that corner. He wants to run towards us. He wants to embrace us. He wants to give us the robe, the ring. He wants to put us back to that position that we once were, right with him, walking with him, talking with him, sharing life with him. That's what he wants. That's what he wants for all of us. And so I want to encourage you today. I want to encourage you to take some time today to talk to him. I want to encourage you to take some time today to think about what he might be up to in your life, to think about what he might be saying to you. Maybe it's been through this series, maybe it's just been through life circumstances. But just take a moment today to just reflect and think about, like, what is God saying to you? And how can you talk to him today? What can you bring him today? What can you share with him today? Because what he wants more than anything with us is relationship. Friends, I love you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. That's the end of our series, Homecoming, but you can watch all of the episodes and all of the devotions for this month. You can see them all in our IGTV, on our Facebook, on our YouTube, and I pray that you will enjoy these moments over and over again. And next week is a new month, and we'll see what we'll be up to then. But for now, I just pray that may the Lord bless you, keep you, may he cause his face to shine upon you, and may you have a wonderful day. Amen.